Hey everyone, so I just wanted to create a quick video here where I'll run through all of the steps required to set up a business in Ireland specifically. If someone comes across this video that's setting up a business elsewhere, I'm sure some of the steps could be reused. You'll obviously need to go to different websites, etc. But yeah, this video is going to be tailor-made to setting up a business in Ireland. It's something I did at the start of the year, and it's something that I wish there was a checklist out there for. As far as I'm aware, there isn't one, so that's why I'm making this video, outlining first of all of the steps required, the advised order of those steps, which I think does sort of make life easier if you do them in the correct order, and also the cost, which is hugely important. So maybe there's people out there that are thinking of setting up a business, whether it be a side hustle, doesn't have to be your full-time business. They might be overwhelmed with, first of all, the list of things to do, and secondly, being in the dark about the cost of all of those things. So yeah, I think there's around 10 things on the list that I did to set up the business. So I'll go through them one by one pretty quickly, maybe give some advice. First of all, what I did, maybe what I could have did better, and then also outlining the cost, if any, for each of those specific items. So yeah, let's get into it. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is actually register the company. Now, whether you register as a sole trader or a limited company is obviously personal preference. I'm not going to go into the differences on this video. It's probably something you'd want to research yourself or talk to an accountant with. I registered as a limited company, so again, this step is going to be more lean towards more setting up a limited company. But what you want to do is, you probably could do some of these steps yourself. So if you go to the CRO website, you can see here there is some task like register a business name and set up a company. I paid a company to do it for me because I was a little bit nervous about doing something incorrectly. Obviously, you want to do everything correctly when you're actually setting up a legal entity. So the one thing you can do before you approach someone to formalize setting it up is you can check if your name is available that you're thinking of using. So if you go to register a business name, and if you scroll down here to the search option, the search facility, you can actually search what you're thinking of calling your business. So if I search fine tuning analysis, that will show up because I set up the company called Fine Tuning Analysis, and it will show your registration number and the type of company as well. So if you don't get a result here, that means you're good to go. You can use that name. Where did I go to set up the business? I went to the Company Bureau. I'll drop a link to their website in the description below. I got advised to go to these guys through a friend, and yeah, they were very good. Very quick, very easy to work with. Just had to send a couple of documents to them via email, and it was a very stress-free process. So yeah, I definitely would advise to approach those guys. If you're on a very tight budget, maybe have a go and see if you can do it yourself. And if you have a little bit more of a flexible budget, I would definitely advise getting experts to do this step. We'll come to later in the video. I'm all for doing as much as you can yourself to save money, and we'll come to some of the steps where I would advise to do that. But for this one, if you do have the budget, I would definitely advise going to an expert. In terms of the cost, I just have a spreadsheet here which we'll use throughout the video. So the cost to register the company was €295, and the cost of registering of beneficial owners was €184. So in total, we'll sum these up as we go. €479 to actually set the company up as a business. So that's our first cost. We'll go on to step 3 now. Once you've received your CRO number, the next thing you can do is register for a business bank account. So that is a requirement to register for a business bank account. You need to actually be registered as a business. So that's the next thing I would do. It can take some time. I think mine took upwards of maybe a month. And it is something that you want to get in place from the very start. It avoids money from the business having to be deposited into your personal account and then that being recorded as drawings, especially if you don't have any accounting background. It can get a little bit complex. So I definitely would advise, it's something I didn't do. I didn't set up my business bank account until a couple of months into me setting up the business, and it's definitely something I regret not doing earlier. It wasn't the end of the world or anything like that, but it just would have made it a little bit easier if I had set it up earlier. It's obviously free of charge, barring your bank fees, obviously, that you need to pay. And then you can then connect your business bank account to Xero or any other accounting platform. We'll come to that at a later step. So yeah, step 2 is essentially just create a business bank account. Not going to go through how to do that. It's fairly simple. You'll get all the requests from the bank, like proof that you're a registered company and your address, etc. You will have to register an address for the business. Some documents will go there that you'll need to use. So yeah, on to step 3. Next up, while you wait for your business bank account to be finalized and set up, you can start working on, well, first of all, deciding if you want to get someone to create a website for you or if you want to set it up yourself. Now, this is an area where I think you can save yourself a lot of money if you are on a tighter budget like I was. So I didn't have, sometimes some companies could be charging in between 3 and 5 grand for a website, and I just simply didn't have that. So what you can do is you can essentially do a YouTube course for a couple of hours, or I did a course on Udemy. I think it cost I think I actually might have got it as part of a free trial. And it teaches you how to build a website on WordPress. And it's honestly, I found it very, very easy anyway. And I'm delighted I didn't pay someone to build it for me. On top of that, whenever you want to make any changes to your website and add photos or add a new page or adjust things, it's so much easier to manage when you can do it yourself, because you can do it at any time and you don't need to pay someone to do it for you. And those kind of things are so quick. So you don't want to be paying someone for something that takes a couple of minutes to do. So if you go to Bluehost, this is the first thing if you do decide to build your own website, this is the first thing you'll need to do. You'll need to get a domain. And I'll send a link to this website in the description below. But yeah, you need to get a domain, and that's basically Bluehost is used to host your website on. Now, the cost of Bluehost, I'm not going to go into the details of how to set this up, but the cost, which is the most important thing, €349. But there was a deal on when I was getting this, and that's essentially the cost for 3 years. So if you divide that by 3, it's just over €100 per year, which is very cheap. So yeah, that's the cost essentially of the website element. Now, again, I definitely would recommend doing it yourself. If you're a company that doesn't, or a person that doesn't have time to do it themselves, or you're just not comfortable enough to sit down and do a course, feel free to reach out to myself. I actually got a request from a client recently who just didn't have time to set up his own website, and he was inquiring if I knew anyone that could do it at an affordable price. And all he needed was a basic website, like the website that I set up for fine-tuning analysis. So I set up one for him because he just wanted a quick website, nothing fancy, at an affordable price. I'm actually thinking of adding that as our services over at Fine Tuning Analysis, depending on how much interest we get, because some of the prices that other businesses are charging to build a website are honestly crazy. So step 3, build the website, or pay someone to do it for you, essentially. Step 4, you could actually do this before step 3, because you're probably going to need some of the content, is jump onto Fiverr and essentially purchase a branding kit, a logo, some brand colors. I'll just show a folder of what I received whenever I purchased my brand kit. So you get basically a folder like this, or this is what I got, and you get a folder with different types of files of your logo. So I have PNG here, I have SVG, social media. So if you want to have Instagram for your logo, that will fit the Instagram. And then most importantly, the thing that I use the most in here is my brand colors. So you pick your brand that you like, and you can ask, it's basically freelancers that are on Fiverr. You can ask them to tweak a design, but if you like a design, they'll send it to you. And I use these and plug these into my website and Canva, which we'll come to later, a huge amount. So it's great to have these because these are the exact colors that are in your logo. So whenever you're creating content on Canva, in my opinion, it's great and important to have the same colors. So you're sort of building up a brand essentially. So yeah, that's step 4. In terms of the cost of acquiring the brand kit, it cost me just under €130. So fairly inexpensive. And it was something that I got, in the space of a couple of hours. If you're picky, obviously it might take a little bit longer to decide on something. You can obviously go more expensive here if it's something that you want to do. But if you want to do it on a budget, then Fiverr is definitely the place for your brand kit. Step 5, which is a free step, is setting up your Google business page. This is something that is very, very easy and very quick to do, and essentially just gives your business that little bit more credibility. So I probably should have mentioned that with the website, in that my purpose of a website in my first year of business was never to, although it would have been great if it was the case, it was never for someone to stumble across it and for me to get business from that. It was more for credibility and to put up content and to show potential customers what we work on in some of our projects. So it was more used to redirect potential customers to. Now, as we're getting busier and we have more of a budget to spend on marketing and advertising, we're going to start hopefully to see more people just, stumbling across our website and gaining interest that way. And that can be the same here with your Google business page. So depending on the type of business that you're setting up, your Google business page could be used more, or it could be like me, where I don't really use it that much. It's just there for someone to look up and see maybe opening hours. Obviously, if you're, a hairdresser or anything like that, this is hugely important. So customers can see when you're open, what your number is if they want to book an appointment, where your website is. They can see reviews as well. I don't have any reviews in here. And you can also add in pictures here as well. So scrolling here, you can see all the pictures that I've added in. So just some content that I created on Canva, and then some projects as well, I think are in here somewhere. Or they might have been, clicking all. There, yeah. So some Power BI reports, which is essentially what we do. So yeah, that's the Google business page. The best thing about it is it's free to create. Now, something I'm not really going to touch on is you can obviously use Google ads then, which aren't free. So like sponsored ads that will show up on Google if someone is searching something, that you may offer as a business. But yeah, if you're not going to use Google ads, then the actual setting up of the business profile is a free step, which is great. Step 6 is setting up a LinkedIn business page. I probably should have mentioned it earlier. I'm not really going to go through how to set up these, like your Google business page or LinkedIn business page. I will actually drop in links to tutorials on YouTube. They're fairly simple things to do. And this is another free step, which is obviously great. And this is actually something that I use quite a bit. Again, to build credibility, to showcase your work. Obviously, it depends on the type of business that you're setting up. If you're setting up a hairdresser's, you might not be using LinkedIn as much as you would be if you're setting up a business like I set up, where we offer a service that it's not really something that you might use LinkedIn for. But the way I look at these things as well, there's no harm in having a page there once you're not spending too much time on it for no avail. So yeah, in terms of the LinkedIn business page, the best thing is it's free. I use it. You can set up a article, which is essentially like a website blog post, and it goes to all of your followers will get the option to follow that article, and if they follow it, then they'll get notifications whenever you post new posts. So yeah, this is definitely something that I would do early on, and yeah, avail of any free tools that you can out there. Yeah, on to step 7. Step 7, definitely the tool that I use the most behind any of Power BI or Power Apps or Power Automate, the tools that we actually use to help clients, and that is Canva. Honestly, it's actually amazing. I think Canva, it basically means, in my opinion, that you don't need someone to, once you enjoy using it, and which I do, and I think most people seem to do, to build content, you don't need to pay someone to do that for you, and you can customize it exactly as you want. You can use Canva for free. There's a free version, and you do have quite a few features with the free version. I would obviously advise everyone to test out the free version. 2 reasons. First of all, test to see if you enjoy using Canva and creating content. It might be the case that you don't enjoy using Canva, and if you don't, then obviously more than welcome to pay someone to do that for you. But I use the pro version in terms of the pricing, and it's still only €12 a month. If you pay upfront the full year, I think you get it for around, it doesn't have it here, I have it included here, I paid €130 for the yearly subscription for Canva. I use it honestly every single day. I use it for LinkedIn, I use it for TikTok, which we're starting to use recently, use it for a website a lot. I even created retractable banners on there that we brought to the credit union exhibition. I could have got them printed on Canva, but I wanted to give that business to a local person. But I wanted to create them because I wanted to see how they look. So I was even able to do that on Canva. It's honestly amazing. I created flyers on Canva for that exhibition. So yeah, something I would definitely recommend investing. You'll definitely see a return on it, and it'll definitely help build your brand. The beauty as well is you can build a brand in Canva. So you input your brand colors and your logo, and that always stays there. So whenever you're building like new content or a LinkedIn post or an Instagram post or what have you, you can easily just drag and drop them in. So yeah, that is definitely something I would recommend getting. On to step 8. Just thinking as well while I record this, in terms of timelines, even though this is step 8, I would still do this within the first month of setting the business up. This is just a rough guideline on the steps that I would take in that order, I guess, with the importance of each step. But up next, I would sign up for Microsoft 365, something, again, that is the value for what you pay for is honestly crazy. You only have to pay, I think you have your basic there for €6. I have the business standard. I'm actually going to move to the business premium because there's that little bit more of cyber threat protection there. But that's a per user license. So if you're a business that has a couple of users, it still only works out like between 40 and 50 if you have 5 users per month. And what you get for that is you get Excel, you get Outlook, which is important for obviously emails. You get Teams, which is very important for meetings. Something I do a lot is record meetings whenever I'm in a meeting. I don't like taking notes. Obviously, you can do things like that within Teams, record the meeting and then look back on it. Microsoft Copilot is coming down the line, where what you'll be able to do then is you'll be able to just say, summarize that meeting for me whenever you have it recorded. And then it's essentially your laptop will be taking notes for you. And then you also get access to lots of tools that a lot of people aren't aware of, like going back to the hairdressers, you can use Microsoft Bookings. So it's a free tool you get within that €10, and you can set up a booking page, which I'll show you right now. So if I jump to my website, fine-tuning analysis, yeah, it's free, very easy to set up. I'll drop a link to the website my YouTube video where I go through how to set up a booking page and what it entails. But yeah, you also have Microsoft Forms, again, something that's used quite a bit. This is the booking page. So you pick a service that you want your business has on offer. You can have obviously multiple different services. You can have multiple different staff that, would, provide that service. And then you have times that you can book in, and the customer fills in their details on the bottom here. So yeah, very, very good. Microsoft Forms is very important for feedback, internally and externally. So yeah, Microsoft 365 is definitely something you want to invest in. And a yearly cost then works out at around 127 per user. So a very small amount for what you get. Next up, I would sign up for a cloud accounting package such as Xero. I definitely recommend Xero. I was at a roadshow recently, and some of the stuff they have coming down the line with AI, etc., is honestly amazing. And again, not that expensive, so you can see the pricing here per month. I have the most expensive, subscription, and it works out at, I have the pricing here, around just under 500 a year. Now, I get access to features within Xero, such as projects. A lot of our work is project-based, so they have a fairly good projects management tool within Xero. And the reason that I like to use it within Xero is if I'm working on a project, and I'm not going to go through it now. By the way, you can see there's lots of videos out there on YouTube that will go through the features of Xero. But just to give a reason, if I'm working on a project and if I'm entering the hours into Xero projects, I can then send an invoice within Xero then for that time. It's just extremely convenient and handy. What you can do as well is you can link your bank account to Xero. So whenever you pay for things or receive things, Xero will automatically recognize invoices, for example. So it will automatically record it, and you'll just have to confirm that it's okay. So yeah, Xero definitely is something that I wish I got sooner. I didn't get it for a couple of months. But it's just extremely convenient when you're doing things such as like VAT-3 returns, which I'll come to in a couple of steps. You can just create your reports in Xero that will give you that information that you need to plug into the VAT-3 return forms. So yeah, at a cost of $500 per year, it's definitely something that I would recommend. You can start off with the smaller pricing amounts. If I jump back here, and then work your way up as your business grows. Or you can look around and see, I think there's also Sage out there and QuickBooks. But I would definitely recommend Xero based off my experience. This step is very dependent on the type of business, but I would then recommend setting up any socials that you feel like your business would benefit from. So YouTube was something that I set up quite recently, just showcasing tips and tricks on some of the tools that we use to help clients, and also showcasing some of the projects, how to use the tools, really a mixed bag of videos, but mostly based on tutorials. The main reason for this was we offer training on most of these tools. And secondly, it's a great way for people to stumble across your projects and your work. I actually had a guy from America reach out to me who stumbled across a YouTube video, and now we're working on a project together. So essentially that's the goal on any socials, is to generate interest, leads, and hopefully that results in revenue. So depending on your business, you will obviously, some people won't need to use YouTube. Again, maybe going back to the hairdresser example, you'd be more suited to use Instagram and TikTok. I don't have an Instagram set up for fine-tuning analysis because although I'm sort of contradicting myself whenever I say I feel it would be pointless, in that earlier on I said with the LinkedIn business page, there's no harm in setting it up. I don't want to invest time in creating content for Instagram when I feel like no one's going to stumble across a photo on my Instagram. And that could be wrong, but I don't really think it's an area that I need to use to target potential customers. So you can sort of be clever about what socials you use. The ones we use are mainly YouTube. We also use TikTok recently. They're more short videos, obviously. And yeah, they're the main two that we use at the minute. So yeah, depending on, what type of business you are, you could be using all of them. You could be using none of them. It's just a suggestion. But to come back to the cost, which is another important element, these are free to use. So while you do need to invest time into creating content for them, within Canva, etc., a lot of the time you can definitely be repaid that, if your content creates interest and leads and whatnot. So yeah, that's step 10. Then the last step that I have on my list is to actually register the business for VAT. Now, again, this may be something that you need to do from the very start if you're a business that's going to be generating huge amounts of revenue from the start of trading, or if you're trading with other companies within the EU, the intra-EU rule applies, and that essentially means you need a VAT number for that to apply. And it essentially means that you don't pay VAT, and the company that you're working with will pay the VAT on behalf of you. So in order to get a VAT number, you need to fill out a TR2 form, which you can find here. I'll put the link in the description below. And essentially just fill it out and you send it to Revenue. I have the email. I don't have it to hand now, but if anyone's watching this video and they can't find the email, let me know and I'll send it. So yeah, and that's something that to be cautious on. I got quoted €1,200, and to be honest with you, it's the main reason I set up this whole video, because if someone hears that from the outright stage, if they're thinking of setting up a business and they get quoted, €1,200 to set up or to create a VAT number only, which I got quoted on that probably about 2 months ago. They might be like, that's a crazy amount just to get a VAT number. God knows what it would cost to get everything set up. You can do things like this yourself. It took me 15 minutes to fill out the form. I had to send a couple of documents, invoices, to prove that I was trading in Ireland and also with companies outside of Ireland. That was really it. I had to send basically proof I was trading, and I had a VAT number within 2 weeks. So you can sort of get ripped off as well. So that's probably the list of everything. In terms of when you register for the VAT number, I would then also advise to register for ROS, which is the Revenue Online Service. And within there, you can file your VAT-3 returns, which is a requirement to do. You can also set yourself up as an employer, the business as an employer. You can do your payroll in there. Another way to save money if you're on a tight budget. It's what I do. I don't pay someone to do payroll for me because, I have all the breakouts of the calculations online, so I can just look for them and submit the payroll on behalf of myself. So I guess one final thing that I didn't mention at the start of the video in relation to step 1, if you are, whenever you register a business, within 6 months, you'll have to file an annual return. Now, it's not a financial annual return. Sometimes that can sort of scare people when you hear that. It's literally a tick the box exercise. All you're doing is confirming that you're still a director, the secretary is still the same, your business address is still the same. It's literally, you're just ticking boxes. And that's something that you will need to do 6 months within the incorporation date. I believe if you don't do that, the business can get struck off. And again, I was quoted €200 for that from the same accountant. So it can be quite expensive if you're going the accountant route. I actually am a qualified accountant, albeit I didn't really expertise in that area. I was more in the audit field, which is why I did reach out to accountants. But whenever I was getting quoted those prices, I did my little bit of research, and with the help of some friends, there's a lot of the stuff that you can do yourself. So if we go back to the cost then of essentially all of the things that we mentioned, there's quite a few free steps in here. You're talking just under $2,000 for, registering the company, creating the website if you're going to do it yourself. So obviously you just need to pay for the Bluehost. And if you were to go to someone and ask them to create a website, now depending on the person, you could be talking 3, 4, 5 grand alone. So it definitely makes sense to do as much as you can, obviously time depending, in-house, and not just in terms of saving money, but going back to the website example, it just allows you to be able to make tweaks yourself, and essentially manage anything. If you want to make an adjustment, you can do it, whenever you want. You don't need to wait for someone to do it for you. So yeah, that's the last step. So that's the list and cost of everything involved in setting up a business in Ireland in 2023 at the date of this video. I'm sure it'll change in the coming years. If anyone has any questions on any of the steps, or asking maybe any questions in setting up the business in general, please feel free to reach out to me. You can just drop a comment or reach out to me on LinkedIn. And yeah, I'm not sure if I'll post more videos like this. It obviously probably depends if it gets much traction, if there's a demand for these kind of videos. I post regularly on the business page, giving tips and tricks on some of the tools that we use to help our clients with. But yeah, I thought it might be a good idea to set up something like this for people that were in the same shoes as myself, and they're contemplating if they should set up a business, and then if they are, hopefully this gives them a little bit of a roadmap of basically everything that's required and a rough gauge of the cost. Thanks, guys.